Roll for random encounter.
Okay, and welcome to another episode of the Random Encounters Show. Friend of the show, Steve Crompton, he's back on, and today he's got something very special for the audience, and I'm going to let him tell us what it is.
Hey everybody, this is Steve. Yeah, we were talking about unusual things, and so in my many years working for Buffalo and with Ken San Andre and whatnot, I've collected a bizarre assortment of rarities, art, and other usual odds and ends. And I thought we'd show some of them. I saw Websphere had a box opening, and I know that Deathstalker 5 has done that as well. So I thought that we could do the same thing. It'd be kind of fun.
Oh yeah, diving into Steve's master collection, cause let's see, it's 21 years of you working at Flying Buffalo since '81, huh? No, not 21, 41
More than
years.
21.
Yeah, let me do some math here. Like I said,
No, don't do any math. Don't do the math. That's a long time.
Yeah,
Men and
41
boys,
years. So I'm very excited. I have no idea what you're going to show us, so I'm going to be surprised just along with everybody else. So I'm going to give the reins over to you, and you can take us through the museum of Steve Crompton.
There you go. Yeah, these are just some odds and ends I've collected over the years. Okay, so I'll start with something simple. Something you showed a few weeks back. You remember this, right? This is the Legenda comic, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, the other day I was looking and I found this is the original art for it.
Whoa.
So that's the actual original piece of art.
That is awesome.
There it is. That was all done with colored pencil, a little bit of ink, and then the sky was airbrushed. So that's how I did that piece. So I did that in like 1989, I believe. So there you go, original piece of art.
Wow, that's awesome. And Legentia, that was a full game campaign and also a full comic series as well, or a story series, I should say.
Correct. Yeah, we did 3 issues of comic, and then we did 3 gaming related things. All right. So then the next book in that series was Fort Bevitz, which you haven't shown. This is the second campaign book in that series. So, and then this is the original I did for that. Now, what's unusual about this cover is that I drew it and did all the art on it, knowing exactly what size it would be, how thick the spine would be. I put all the details on for the text on it and everything. So the printer could just shoot this and use it as is. This was all done before computer imagery was going on. Nowadays, I'll do this in the computer, but back in then, that wasn't a possibility. And you had to pay high fees to have them digital computer to use photo effects to put all these things on your art. And if you could do it yourself, you could save a lot of money. And at Flying Buffalo, that was important. So
yeah, that's beautiful though.
That was all done with airbrush and some colored pencil. So there you go, kind of an interesting.
I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm going to try to get into airbrushing soon on the miniatures. I might have to hit you up for some tips.
So there you go. There's some interesting. The other thing I found when Ken moved, he moved to a smaller place. He had an apartment that he lived in for I don't know, over 10 years. And so one of the things they would send us from Japan is they would kept sending us 10 copies of every book. And sometimes I've got some I got, I'd go over to Flying Buffalo and Rick would say, hey, we got that box from Japan. Here's what that book looks like. So I've got some of those. And then when Ken moved, he gave me some more of them, some going all the way back to the early 1990s. So I thought it'd be fun to see if you can recognize any of these.
We'll try. And for the audience, a lot of people may not know this, but many of you that follow Flying Buffalo probably do, but Tunnels and Trolls was a hit smash in Japan.
Yes.
What I can tell. Yeah, it had several manga series, and it was probably bigger than Dungeons and Dragons, especially in the 80s and early 90s, from what I can tell.
It was there first. And what was really worked well for Tunnels and Trolls even now is that you can play it solitaire, which is perfect if you're sitting on a a fast train or a subway or a bus, which is a lot of a lot of people don't even own vehicles in Japan. So sure. That works great for young people who are going from place to place. All right, see if you recognize this cover.
The Arena of Kazan.
So this is the Japanese version of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting.
And that's for the deluxe version, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, this was done after the Kickstarter in 2016. There was a big revival of Tunnels and Trolls in Japan. After we did the Kickstarter in the United States, the Japanese came back and they decided they wanted to do it. And They printed it and they sold out in 2 weeks. They had no idea how big it was going to be, and they had to go back and print it again. Here's another. This is the Tunnels and Trolls magazine. This is issue number 5. This is actually one of the rare issues to find. You can find issues 1 and 4 if you look, but 5 was less circulated, hard to get. So this is the 5th issue of that series. And they sent me these when we were working on the Japan Adventures book that I wanted to do. They sent me these and they said, you can look through these, and any art you want to use, let us know, and we'll arrange for you to get the rights to use it. So I rather than just, I picked the best art I liked from the various issues of the Japanese TNT magazine, and that's what we put in the TNT Adventures book.
Yeah, and those were some great little the free RPG day and the full adventure for the Japan Adventures. Those were some great productions.
Yeah, exactly. Let me try and this is again, this is another TNT solo. This is from the late 80s. I don't even know what solo this is. I wouldn't be able to tell from that cover. I have no idea. I'm sure it says so somewhere in here, but
now I had a question for the Japan. What was it quite often that they would publish their own materials for Tunnels and Trolls there that weren't necessarily something from Flying Buffalo, or was it strictly?
Generally speaking, they did what we did.
Okay.
Here's one where they got the rights to one of the European Tunnels and Trolls covers.
Right.
And this is by, I forget his name, but he did all the covers of the Corgi books. And this is one of his covers. And the Japanese version of that book in like I say, this was probably published in like 1990,
Okay.
They love these wrappers. I tell you, they're very annoying. They may look nice, but they're very annoying.
Well, yeah, they're sort of weird. They're sort of like a dust jacket and cover at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's one of those. This is weird. This looks very much like it oriented for little kids, right? It's like, It doesn't look at all like the rest of the books. Maybe this was an introduction to how to play. Again, this is from the early 90s. There's another one. Like I said, we had a bunch of these, and they published quite a few in Japan. Let me see if I can see what this one is. This is Monsters.
Wow, this
is Monsters. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So this is the Japanese version of Monsters in 1987 or 89.
And I love how they use the more Japanese-inspired art, where we're used to seeing more of the Eurocentric Tolkien fantasy art. They sort of put their spin on it. I love it.
But to me, this is a totally inappropriate cover. Where's the monster there? That's a fairy. I mean,
well, she's surrounded
of all the things to pick. So this, in a related, since we found that, I got this here. This is kind of interesting. This is the Japanese Monsters they did like about 2 years ago.
Okay, probably when you guys did the last Kickstarter as well for the second edition.
Right. So this is the Liz Danforth cover.
Yeah, I was about to say
1976.
That looked like Liz's work there.
Yeah. And there's some of Liz's art in there. There's a Lamia from the original book.
Right.
So it does use some of the original art. There's the Wood's Edge Inn. That's in the book. So it's kind of interesting. And then this is their bestiary apparently too.
Wow.
They did a companion beast. Now, see, this has nothing to do with us. We did not write this. They came up with this stuff themselves.
I had no idea that they were doing so much over there.
They've done tons of stuff. It's amazing. One of the last books I worked on was the Alice in Wonderland solo.
Right.
Weird World, Alice in Weird, and they published that. They loved it. They had a great time with that one. They published it right away.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite solos, especially with the deluxe edition, Alice in Weirdland. Weird World. My bad. I know,
right? It's easy to say. I'm really proud of that book. I just thought that came out so well, and it was unique. It was a totally different approach to doing a solo.
Right, and of course, Elven Lords. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a great Kickstarter. We did great. I think this is Sword Fire. This is the 1988-89 version. By the way, if anybody's really interested in any of these and you want to buy them, you can contact me and we can talk about it. I mean, I have these. Some of these I have duplicates of. So if anyone's interested, you're welcome to contact me. You can put a comment below and we can, work out something. I'll mail it to you.
Too bad for them. They can't beat me there because they're going to wait for this to upload. But I'll definitely be hitting you up because some of those just look awesome.
Yeah, some of the art is a lot of them mixed. They mix our art with their art, which is really interesting.
And on that note, let's make it easy for the audience to find you. Do you want me to put your email down in the link, or do you want them to catch you on Facebook? Which one would be best for you?
Why don't we do it on Facebook? Put my Facebook link, and then people can message me.
Steve Crompton on Facebook. That's easy enough to find. You'll know him.
Yeah.
He's got the hat on in the profile.
Although there's a lot of Steve Crompton, so
yeah, look for the hat though. That's the biggest clue.
there you go. Let's see what else. This is another one. This one's really cute. Look at this cover. Again, it's very anime cutie kind of, approach. They go back and forth between horrible monsters and the anime stuff. So
yeah, that one looks like it's from the early 2000s. That style of anime that came out. What was it?
It does. This looks like a later printing.
Yeah,
of something.
I'm so unfamiliar with anime. I mean, I'm familiar with a little bit, but that Nataru or whatever it was, the Ninja Kid anime that got so popular, that reminds me of that. And Yu-Gi-Oh as well. It reminds me of that style.
Yeah, believe it or not, this is also Sword for Hire.
Okay.
Interesting. The cover has nothing to do with it.
Right.
And it was published in 2005. So this is an unusual one because this was published in between when they were a big hit back in the late 80s and before our Kickstarter. So it's kind of interesting. That's unusual. You don't see many of those.
Yeah, the cover art's beautiful, but it doesn't I'm thinking Sword for Hire. I remember that one was the one in mostly underground, right?
Yeah. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, it is. You're with the rock demon.
Yeah, going down on the ferry or whatever through the river. I love that.
Right.
One.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Like I say, we talked during the interview the other week. We talked about how in the new Monsters book, we're introducing demons as a character type you can play. Which, even though demons appeared in the solos and other places, you never actually were. They weren't something you could play or roll or do anything with directly.
Right.
All right. I'm going to show you the Japan. This is the Japanese pride and joy. This is the ultimate.
Oh.
This is the Tunnels and Trolls Japan. I only have one. This is my only one. This is the Tunnels and Trolls box set. And it is amazing. In fact, before we sold Buffalo, we really wanted to do a box set like this with Tunnels and Trolls, but we just never got, we never got to the point where we had the time and the budget to do it. Look at all the dice. It comes with all these dice.
Oh, that can come in handy for your higher levels or big parties.
It comes with its own calculator. And look, there's
I've seen that before.
There's the demon head logo on the calculator.
I've seen that before on eBay and stuff. I just never, for whatever reason, I never grabbed it, but I've been looking for it ever since, and I hate that I didn't, but that's
got the Tunnels and Trolls logo on the back of the calculator. As far as I know, this is the world's only Tunnels and Trolls calculator. So they split, as most of you know, the Tunnels and Trolls deluxe rulebook is thick. It's like 386 pages. So we had thought seriously about splitting it into 2 books,
right?
Before we came out with it, and we ended up not, because we said that's what we promised, and so that's what we did. But we always planned to split it into 2 volumes. So they used they split it up into 2 covers. So here's that's the second part of the book, and that's the first part of the book. The main rules. How they did it is they split into 3. This is the main rules, and then this is the ancillary rules, and then this book is sort of Troll World, right?
Yeah, the campaign guide.
So, and you can see they used all 3 of the covers from the well-known Tunnels and Trolls rulebook,
right?
And so that's Tunnels and Trolls in Japan with Liz's cover.
I think that's the 5th edition cover, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And in this is all the Troll World stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Troll World, and it's got the on the back of it and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting. It was fun to see what their approach to it was. Let's see what's on this one.
It's a beautiful box set. Now you gave us a beautiful box set as well with the wood box and leather deluxe slip cover cases and stuff.
The slip cover, yeah, the slip case was amazing. And we were really disappointed with that box. It was not at all what we were promised. It was supposed to be lacquered. It was supposed to be big enough for the book to fit in, and it really quite wasn't. And so there were a bunch of problems with it. And but we were stuck with them at that point. So we were very disappointed.
Well, I still love
Japanese
it.
Book.
Yeah, I still love it. It's the only role-playing game book I ever got that came with its own wooden box.
Well, that's true. But like I say, it was so let's see what else on this. There's this is the Japanese GM screen. They took my same art design that I did on the front, and then they put in the Japanese text for that. Kind of interesting. So this is, like I say, this is one of my prides and joy. I really love this. And then here's Japanese character sheets. It's kind of interesting.
Excellent.
I don't know if I'm showing too much or not enough, but
No. Keep showing. I mean, anybody that loves Tunnels and Trolls is definitely getting an education right now, because I've been
right. I mean, you're not often going to see these like this, to this up close and personal.
right. So it's things that I haven't really got to see like that, and I've been collecting Tunnels and Trolls stuff for years now. So
Right. Well, it's really amazing to have these things. Obviously, that's not for sale, but some of these other solos, the Japanese ones, I've got duplicates of. Somebody wants those, they can contact me.
there you go.
Okay, so a minute ago we saw, let me show you, where did I put that? Oh, here it is. So in a related thing, this is the same similar cover to that, the Japanese one. This is the 7th edition of Tunnels and Trolls. This is the tin one.
Right.
Ironically, Flying Buffalo did not publish this. This was done under license to Fiery Games. So
right.
At the time, Buffalo was not, that was kind of a low period for Buffalo, early to mid 2000s. It was before, it was just kind of it just wasn't a lot going on at the time. Everybody was going off in their separate directions, and Buffalo was going, was kind of in a, in a slows phase, I guess I would say. So there wasn't a lot of ability to do stuff. Kickstarter was really something that brought Buffalo back up to the fore, because we could do Kickstarters for things.
Right.
So one of the things I got, another one of my pride and joys here, during the Kickstarter, Liz had an auction for this piece of art. This is the cover for the Fiery edition. This is the original piece of art that Liz drew, painted. So this is the original painting. It's done in acrylics on artboard. It's approximately 18 by 24, I would say. And I'm really proud of this. I got this at the auction she was doing for it, and I'm really proud of it. It's a beautiful piece. So
it is. And
now she is not happy with this piece. She doesn't really, she kind of thinks she was not as happy with it as she would like to have been, but I loved it. I think it's a great piece.
I think it's a great piece, and you know how it is being an artist. You're never as happy with your own work as other people are. So
yeah, and then a lot of times you're affected by what was going on for you at the time, and so sometimes looking at a piece of art can bring back tough memories or difficulties you had working on it, and so you don't enjoy it. You hear that also from people who are in movies and do records. They listen to, they go, oh, I remember all the arguments we had when we were working on Get Back, or I hated that movie because I was working with a director and he was such a jerk, and so they can't enjoy it for what it is. It brings back the memories of the difficulties they had at the time. So anyway, I was very happy with this piece, and
yeah, that piece, if I'm not mistaken, for little Tunnels and Trolls history, isn't that supposed to be a few seconds after the 5th edition cover? Like you can
correct.
See, you can see the trolls starting to come. And yeah.
This is the exact same moment with the same characters, just a little bit later. So as Liz explains it, there's a mate to the troll behind coming up, to help protect. And so that was kind of her story there with it. But it's the same characters from the 5th edition cover.
Right.
So anyway, there you go. So again, that's another one of my prides and joys.
Oh, I don't blame you.
So anyway, so that's some of the cool stuff. See what else I've got here if you're interested. Some of these you guys have probably seen before. This is the French edition of Tunnels and Trolls.
That I've never seen.
Is the Grimtooth.
Yeah, that I've never seen. Had no idea it even existed.
This was published in the late 80s, I believe, mid to late 80s, like 89, somewhere in there. So the interior is exactly the same, except they've retyped it, set it in French. Layout's all the same. The art's all the same. It's got all my art in it. So I can say I've been published in France.
There you go.
And then this is kind of interesting. This is I think this is the German version of the same book. So this is it in German. Fun. Grimson's Fallen.
That's excellent.
They decided to go with a red cover. I guess maybe that was more like blood. I don't know.
Yeah,
But again, the interior is exactly the same, just has German text in it. There's a back cover, just like the back cover to our book, except it's red and it's got the same art.
That's excellent. It's yeah. See, I'm learning all kind of stuff, so I know the audience is.
One thing I was going to show you is somewhere I have the first edition of Traps, which has a gray covered with a texture gray covered and dark blue text.
Right.
But of course, I go looking for it and I can't find it. So it's always the way. I only find things I'm not looking for. All right, so this is kind of interesting. This is a Chateau de Boeuf.
All right, Buffalo.
So this is the French version of Castle, Buffalo Castle.
Right.
Liz Danforth art. So, and then I don't know why this is in here, but there's Castle Ward in French.
Huh. That's interesting.
I may have put it in there somewhere. I did the artwork for this and the map, so maybe that's why I ended up with a copy of this, I guess. I get these things and I put it in a shelf and then I forget about it for 30 years. So,
well, that's why we're around to make you dust them off a little bit.
There you go. I think this is the German. Now in Germany, they renamed Tunnels and Trolls. They didn't think there was an appropriate name, so they called it Schwarzer and Damonen.
Huh.
So this is the German version of Buffalo Castle. They did a different cover, but it's very much similar looking.
Actually, the cover is actually pretty cool with the buffalo head with the castle.
It is. I actually like that cover. Liz never liked this cover. She hated it. She hated this cover. So when we redid the book for the deluxe version, Liz did a whole new cover, which is beautiful. I did all the digital coloring on it, and it came out really great.
Yeah, the audience, you guys will get to see a lot of the later stuff in my collection. I'll go through there soon and pull out some things. But
this is a new piece of art that's not in the original. Looks like Genghis Khan, doesn't it?
Yeah, sort of a.
That's not in the original Buffalo Castle. So I don't know whether they added that or took something out, but
because
it's a mix. There's a mix, mostly Liz's stuff, and then there's a few other illustrations they added. Yeah, looks like by the same artist that did the cover.
Yeah, I don't know if Liz did that one or not. It definitely looks reminiscent of her work, though, for sure.
Definitely not one of hers.
They did a good job of matching the style, anyway.
I can almost instantly tell. I've worked with Liz's stuff so long, I can tell in with a couple of seconds whether it's a Liz piece or not. Occasionally I'll find something that I'm not sure, one of her early pieces, here and there, but I'm almost always, I can immediately recognize her stuff. Here's a German version of Labyrinth. They did a completely different cover.
Yeah, I was about to say that's completely different. It's pretty.
But they used the back cover. That's the back cover I designed. Liz did the illustration. I did all the colors for that. Now back then we did this with overlays. We would cut overlays for the colors.
Right.
And it looks like they pretty much replaced the art. They used their own clip art. That's in the book. That's in the American version.
Yeah.
But most of the clip art in here is unique to it. So anyway, kind of interesting. These would have been done in the mid 1980s, like 85 to 87. They just did one of the things I did when I was manager of Buffalo was they recontacted us and asked if they could do a Kickstarter to reprint it for a special edition, and we granted them that permission, and it came out. I think it came out in, I want to say last year in 21 sometime. I didn't get to see it, so I don't know how it came out. I know they did do it.
That'll be something for us to look for and see if we can find it.
Yeah, I'd love to see I did ask them as part of the agreement that they had to say this was Tunnels and Trolls somewhere in the book and say that this is originally for Tunnels and Trolls. Whether they did that or not, I don't know. But this is Sea of Mystery.
Pretty cover, definitely different than what we got, but
extremely different. Yeah, this is more kind of a traditional European kind of approach to a cover.
Right.
Very traditional. Although again, the back cover is the same. Only difference is they, instead of printing in black ink, they print it in blue ink. It's that same illustration. I think that's Kaczarski, Michael Kaczarski. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. So they kept with his art inside the book.
Okay.
I don't know. Does it help for me to show the inside of the book?
Yeah, why not? We want to see. At least I do anyway.
This is a city book.
Really?
So this is a German city book.
I wonder which, on the road? No, it says, I don't know there. It says number 2 there. I don't know what order they went.
I think it's like Freak Show or Dark Side.
Okay, because I was going to guess King's Road because they sort of had the king sitting up there on the.
Maybe I had very little to do with that particular book, so I don't
I don't
remember
know.
what.
Any German readers in our audience, they maybe can leave in the comments. If they know.
Let me see if it says City Book 3. Yeah, it's Deadly Nightside. City Book
Deadly
3.
Night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Wow. Why'd they want to replace that cover? That's one of my favorite covers from the City books.
Well, I think again, it's similar to what they did with Sea of Mystery. They wanted something more. Again, does this look more European? Traditional figures and a traditional kind of pose. Using European iconography for the images.
It's sort of
So-
European, but then again, it's sort of Mesopotamian looking. To me, it really reminds me of the 1980s conception of Conan the Barbarian after the movie.
Well, and that was filmed in Italy. Don't forget.
Yeah. Yes.
So by an Italian. So it gives you an idea. And as we recall, the Germans and the Italians were pretty close at one time.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so there's a city book. This is really cool. This is the deluxe version of, speaking of city books, of City of Terrors in Japanese.
One of my favorite solos. That might be one of the best. I don't know. It's hard to decide, but I love City of Terrors.
This is first of all, yeah, City of Terrors is probably my favorite solo. And secondly, this should have a map in it. A beautiful map that folds out. Yeah, this has got one of the cool things that we did when we were working on the Meta Arcade project, which was the TNT phone app.
Right.
One of the things that David Reed came to us was that when City of Terrors came out, he wanted to come out with a map for it. So I worked with him and Prachish and Mike Stackpole, and I used the cover illustration from City of Terrors to create this map. So this is the map, and actually, because of the way things worked out, this map, the first time it was ever printed. Oh, there you go. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I was
The first time this was ever printed was in Japan.
Wow. Okay.
In fact, technically, it's not been printed in the United States at all. It's on the app, but we haven't actually printed this map in the United States.
Right. Now, is the Meta Arcade app, is that still going? I know I put it on my phone a long time ago. I'm not sure if it's still in the App Store or not. I wasn't sure what the fate of that was going to be.
Ken and I own that, and we're trying to get it fixed, but it's been slow going. So
Okay.
getting the programmers to cooperate is very difficult. So, but we're trying. So anyway, this has all the it's got all the original art, and it also has some additional art too. Looks like they also put Red Circle in here as well as a bonus.
That was another good solo from the 80s.
Right, which also takes place in the City of Terrors. So
I wonder if they gave that a deluxe treatment or they just left it as it was.
I don't know. Since it's all in Japanese, I got no way of knowing.
I just wonder since it's in the deluxe book,
Don't forget that the changes that we made to this deluxe version were very minor. We put some, we changed some numbers in the book, a few numbers in the book for stats and stuff, and then Ken wrote a new introduction that gave you instructions on how to use it with Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls. So it's largely the same book.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've always praised Tunnels and Trolls over. There's editions of Tunnels and Trolls, but all of them are compatible with each other with very little conversion.
Yeah, this also has Sewers of Oblivion in it too. I just
that.
realized.
So that was a really decent book for somebody to get. Those were 3 top solos.
That explains why it's so thick. It's all 3 of those solos combined into one. So anyway, I love these Japanese books are wonderful to look at. They really are. They're a sight to see. They're very unique, very exact. All right, what else have we got? There's another Japanese thing. This is one of Ken's. He created a collection of, I think this is his 20 monsters book. He did 20 before we did the bestiary. He did his own through his Trohala Press thing, which was his 20 best, and it was sort of a sequel to Arena of Kazan, and you could use them to fight in the arena, if I'm remembering that correctly. Here's some of the creatures and whatnot. I think most of these illustrations are by David Ullery. Yeah, they are. He does a lot of those sort of I'm going to call it fanzine stuff that Flying Buff there that Rick publishes. But look, here's a comic about it that the Japanese did. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
I would love to do more comics.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Here's the character sheets for these characters, so you can use them.
Wow, just straight up ready to go like that.
Yeah,
That's excellent.
very unique.
Yeah, and I was going to tell the audience, to my best of my knowledge, most everything Ken's done outside of Flying Buffalo and his Trollhalla place, he's pretty much got all those available PDF over on Drive-Thru.
He does, yeah, yeah.
So if we talk about something he's done that you're really interested in, that's your best bet.
Yeah, I've worked on a few of those with him. So there's some that
Right.
I've done with him. Most of them he does on his own. He's been doing them for many years. There's quite a few of those things. So those are kind of his own separate sort of, but they use either the Tunnels and Trolls rules or the Monsters rules. He's not allowed to produce any more new stuff for Tunnels and Trolls. So obviously he's not doing anything new for that, which is why we've been emphasizing the Monsters lately. That's, it works out. I'm really glad that it worked out the way it did, I guess, so we can continue producing material that people can, our core fan base can enjoy,
Oh, yeah. And who knows what the future will hold for everybody. So
Right, exactly. So let me see if I got anything else here interesting. Let's go way back. Here you go. Here's something ancient. So this is the very first Tunnels and Trolls book that collected people's contacts, names, and addresses. If you wanted to play Tunnels and Trolls and you wanted to try and see if there was anyone near you, you could use this book to look people up. It was like a directory.
Right.
And had people's names and addresses in it. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, so Ken gave me this about a year or so ago, I guess. And this is from 1978, just before the 5th edition came out.
And
now, I did another one of these when I was working at Flying Buffalo in 1981. We did a directory for the 81, which had additional names in it. And it was a small half this size, but it was thick and it had a bunch of names in it. So, but nowadays with the internet, you just meet people online. You don't need to worry about
that was the thing. I would imagine Rick Loomis had a lot to do with that because he was so good at putting games together and mail by games and lists and things together pre-internet. You know what I mean? He really he had a community going just in the old school by mail systems.
Yep. All right, here's something. This is like the 2nd or 3rd edition of Tunnels and Trolls from like 1975 or 6.
Wow.
So again, this is another gift from Ken. It's a beaut. I think he gave it to me when we were working on Tunnels and Trolls Deluxe. I scanned a little bit there was a couple of pieces of art in here that are not in any other books, and I scanned it and I used a couple of those pieces. One of those is this on the back here.
Right.
The Rob Carver piece. And then there's a couple other really obscure odds and ends that I put to use. One of the things I became an archivist in effect because during the Kickstarter, my job was to collect and scan any artwork I thought we could use for the deluxe book. We knew the deluxe book was going to be big and we were going to need a lot of art for it. And my approach was, let's go back through the archives. Let's find what is out there. I already knew there was stuff that we never used, stuff in Sorcerer's Apprentice that had never been reprinted, stuff in we did 2 calendars that were never, a lot of that art had never been used. There was stuff in some of these earlier editions that didn't get reprinted. And so I collected that stuff. And over the years, while I was just for Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls and the Adventures Compendium and some of the other books, I put that art to use where and when I could as a tribute to the past. And I thought, the old fans would enjoy it. It was very unique.
Yeah, it was definitely a love letter through the art to all the editions before it and everyone who had played.
Well, there you go. I think that pretty much covers the main. I got a couple of little odds and ends, but they're sort of this pretty much covers my batch for now. I could do another batch later at some point.
Make you empty the museum out eventually.
But it's sort of kind of a reverse box opening, I guess. I'm not really opening a box I just got. I'm showing a bunch of old stuff that I have. So
yeah, but I'm sure there'll be more than just myself. This is the first time I've seen a lot of these things. So
right, I tried to find a nice mix of different things to cover the Tunnels and Trolls of Buffalo gamut of all sorts of different bits and pieces of books and things that were interesting to see. So I hope everybody enjoyed them, and don't forget we got the Kickstarter going on right now for the Monsterary of Zimrala. So if you haven't looked at that, please check it out and post your comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think of all these weirds, odds, and ends I showed today.
Yeah, and I'll drop a link to the Kickstarter below, like I do most of our videos here with Steve
Thanks.
and Ken. And you guys go check it out. Not a long time left to get involved, but so far it definitely looks like something you want to be involved with. If you love anything that Steve or Ken or any of the other Flying Buffalo stuff in the past, you definitely want to check this out.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks a lot. Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we've got to give a big Random Encounters show shout out and thank you to Steve. You're definitely a friend to the show. You're about to become a co-host to the show here, because there's no one out here. You promote the show better than I do. I swear.
Well, I do my best. I love fighting for difficult causes. That's why I worked for Buffalo all those years.
There we go. So we definitely need you on our side.
That's right.
But yeah, we'll see you soon, and you'll give us an update here with the Kickstarter probably soon. So like I said, thank you so much for all you do for the show, and I could never repay you for all of it. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Yippee-o-ki-yay.
All right, man. We'll see everyone next time here on the Random Encounters show.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you.
Hey, this is DevStalker5. If you like the Random Encounter Show, make sure you're subscribed to our channel so that you'll be the first to know when we upload a new episode. Want to support the show? Head over to Questing Table Studio on Facebook. Let us help you bring your table to life with miniature painting services and terrain.